On this episode of the OG and Crab Show, Ben Cherington can't seem to close any deals, and Major League Baseball's TV problems might have gotten even worse. Play me a song, Crab. And we're back on the OG and Crab Show. Welcome back. I'm OG, and sliding in next to me, as always, is my partner, Crab. How's it going, Crab, on Super Sunday?
Good. It's halftime. Let's get this thing going so I can get down there and watch Bad Bunny or Kid Rock, depending on...
We'll have to catch Bad Bunny on YouTube or something. I don't think we're going to finish the time.
I heard some people talking today about, like, some Yinzers be like, "Yins guys know Kid Rock's gonna be on YouTube," and I heard it in real life. I was like, what? Oh my god, that's real? I think you guys were serious.
I guess
it's wild because Kid Rock was popular when we were in high school. OG, like, he's old. Like, why is everybody redoing this old shit? He's fucking old.
Well, I think they have a limited roster to draw from, the folks that are putting on that halftime show. So they don't necessarily have as deep of a bench.
Gotcha.
Oh, boy. Well, it happened again, Crab. It happened again. The Pirates just missed. Can you believe it? They missed on a free agent.
I can believe it.
This time, it was Framber Valdez. Now, this is one of those... Seriously, are we gonna pretend that Framber Valdez was maybe gonna be a Pirate? But there was a whole flurry of activity for like part of a day where the baseball world was acting like the Pirates were seriously in on one of the most sought after starting pitchers in baseball this free agent season. So what gives?
I think it's pretty obvious that last episode I said Bo Nix, and I meant to say a nailer, and then I got the nailers confused because I had a few.
You were all crossed up on that.
Yeah.
You meant Josh Naylor.
Which Naylor did I miss?
You meant Josh Naylor. He signed with the Mariners, and you mixed him up with his brother, who's still with Cleveland, Bo Naylor, and then you went Bo Nix because you've been thinking about the NFL too much.
Well, I've been watching football. It's wintertime. Okay, so starting with Josh Naylor, down from who was after Josh Naylor? It was like Kyle Schwarber, Josh Naylor. Who else?
So they missed on Josh Naylor first. That was the first Bridesmaid story. Okay. And then they were in on Kyle Schwarber for real, and made him a real big offer that fell short. So they were in on Schwarber, and then they actually did some stuff. Some perfectly cromulent baseball activity in the offseason. And then we got into January. And in January, they were going to maybe get some third basemen. And they were rumored for Murataka Murakami, who wound up going to the White Sox. And then they were rumored for Okamoto, who wound up going to the Blue Jays. And they were rumored for... Eugenio Suarez, who wound up going to the Reds for cheap on a one-year deal that you'd think anybody, even the Pirates, could do. But I guess his daughter wanted to go home to Cincinnati, and that's the story. And in reality, why did he really not want to come and play for the Pirates, Crab?
Well, why did he not want to come play for the Pirates? Because nobody wants to play for the Pirates if they can avoid it. Mm-hmm. It's as simple as that, because we have loser energy, and because this is an organization in which we typically give out, 1 year, $8 million, hope that we catch lightning in a bottle, free agent contracts for those types of players who have no job and are about to leave baseball and we're their last employer. And so that's not ideal. And I think that some players, would rather sign anywhere but here. And the reason I had asked you how many we missed out on to start your question to finish your question, your original question, is because, folks, sports agents exist. They're real people. I've never actually seen one. I don't know about you. I mean, I've seen them on television.
I've seen footage of Scott Boras. It's hard not to.
Right. I've seen Jerry Maguire. I know what, maybe they all look like Tom Cruise. I don't know, but they exist. And their job, first of all, they're lawyers. Like 90% of them are lawyers, and those people love to talk. And who better to talk to than Ken Rosenthal or Jeff Passan or Boob Nightingale? And so the Pirates, God love them, they're interested in everybody, just like I'm interested in everybody. I'm interested in everybody.
Everybody's right? So interesting.
I'm interested. And I'm talking aggressively right now with you, OG, about some topics. And so the Pirates are just doing Pirates things. And I think that like these agents get wind of the fact that the Pirates are interested in a player. And by definition, the Pirates being interested in a player means that they're aggressive because they've been so woe-begotten in their free agent spending that anything above zero is suddenly a very large number. And so I think sports agents in baseball specifically, those who represent Mr. Naylor and Mr. Schwarber and Mr. Suarez and so on and so forth, they get wind of the fact that the Pirates are interested in their client and they go, I need to eat. I need other clients. If my client goes to the Pirates, I might not get other clients. So we need to do anything but let you play for the Pirates. And most of these guys are okay with that.
I think there's a little bit different dynamic at play as well. And if you think back to the winter meetings when there was all of this chatter about the Pirates are going to spend, they've got $30 to $40 million to spend. They're going to be real players this year. So there was this sort of establishing shot where everybody, they made a real 9-figure offer to Kyle Schwarber. So, okay, they're serious-ish.
It wasn't serious.
No, but they made a real 9-figure offer. And that is, if it's nothing more than a shot across the bow that they knew was never going to land, it still got out there. But here's the point. I'm not defending them. I'm pointing out that the agents, not so much, the agents are using the Pirates as leverage, and they're able to do that paradoxically because it's like now that there's even just this possibility that the Pirates might kind of scoop somebody up because they've got a little bit of money to spend. Now, all of these other ball clubs that have pride in themselves and don't want to be one-upped by the lowly Pirates are worried that the Pirates might come in and scoop their, mid-ass free agent that they're trying to sign for a reasonable fee. Or even if, it doesn't matter. I think as a leverage play, the Pirates are being used as, you don't want this guy to sign with Pittsburgh. You don't want to get beat by the Pirates, do you? You don't want to get outspent by the Pirates, do you? Come on. So
yeah, I think there might be a little bit of that. And there's also a lot of hey, do you want to play for the Pirates? And Eugenio Suarez is like, do I have other options? And the agent's like, well, we can get some. We can figure that out. I got to do my thing. Can I do my thing? And Suarez is like, do what you got to do, brother. And then boom, we got a report. We're getting close to player X or player Y. Framber Valdez, there's been no smoke around his market at all this offseason. None whatsoever. I mean, it's February 8th today. What did he sign 2 or 3 days ago? So
this past week.
Right. So there's been nothing going on with him. And all of a sudden the Pirates are aggressive. That's the agent leaking information out into the world so that every single team out there is like, all right, okay. What's the bare minimum we want to do? And that's what happens. And I when it comes to these other free agents that we were in on, I'm going to fight you about Schwarber because I just do not believe that they were serious about Schwarber, because I think in baseball specifically, when you're not in a capped league like the NBA and you can't say, well, here's your max contract and for your level of player, because you've made the first team NBA 2.5 times, so the formula says you get 5 years, 218 million, and that's the number. So here's the number, player X. Like, that's in some leagues, that's how it works. So you offer it and they accept it. In baseball, you have to go above and beyond when you're a team like the Pirates. So in other words, the Charlotte Hornets can go ahead and sign their max level player if they choose to do so. The Pirates will have to pay a tax in order to get that fucking player. I'm tired of this fucking argument, OG. These aren't serious offers unless they are willing to go above and beyond to say to a guy like Kyle Schwarber, okay, Kyle, we really want you. Yeah, but I don't want to play for you. I want to go anywhere but play for you. Okay, what's your best offer, Kyle? Well, I want to go back to Philly, and they said 5 years. What's the number? Oh, gee, I forget. 5 years what?
It wound up being 5,150.
Okay, 5,150. If the Pirates said, we'll give you 6,175, you don't think Kyle Schwarber would have been like, ugh,
yeah,
right.
he would. But here's
Cool.
You're fighting the wrong battle here.
I'm just annoyed by this narrative because I think it's bullshit narrative. It's a
That's
stupid
not the narrative
bullshit
I'm
narrative.
spinning, though. What I'm saying is, when the Pirates are out there offering 4 and 130, that means that there's $130 million to be had out there. Now, that's not enough to land Schwarber, obviously, but it must have existed if they put a term sheet in front of them.
If my aunt had male parts, she'd be my uncle. It's not relevant what they think they.
No,
I
it
can
is.
offer
It is
on a
relevant.
house and not buy it. OG.
It's relevant. It's relevant because when the rest of the league sees that news item and knows that the Pirates had a 9-figure offer term sheet in front of Kyle Schwarber, yeah, he turned it down, but that means they had 9 figures to throw at him over 5 years, or over 4 years rather. So that money exists. And so that means that when they miss on him and go sniffing around for Okamoto or for Suarez, or pick a player that they go pivoting to, that means that, well, they put a term sheet down on the table for, it wasn't enough, but it was a real offer in terms of it, like it existed. It's a real offer as it existed, not an offer that he was going to take. I want to make that distinction because you seem to be really upset about it.
No, because
it's not an offer he's going to take.
I can offer on your house right now. I can make an offer right now. And if it's not the number you want, it's real money. I could go to a bank, get real money, and make an offer on your house right now.
Yes.
And you would say, no.
And my neighbor, if my neighbor knew about that offer, he'd say, hey, that guy's got money. Maybe I'll sell to him. That's all I'm pointing out. All I'm saying is the leverage play works.
I get it, but this
we're arguing different stuff. I get that you're really like deeply offended by the idea that the Pirates are claiming that they did something when they didn't.
Because
I'm not saying that.
This entire thing with Framber Valdez falls neatly into this bucket because the second half of this
Framber was strictly a leverage play. I don't think the Pirates were really in on him at all. I think all that was Framber's agent thinking up, like, who's somebody that could be in on this guy that I can feed to Rosenthal so that he'll get, like, everybody get this, kickstart this market a little bit. Now, the Pirates were seeding the press, it seems like, in the immediate aftermath of Suarez, where you saw a bunch of beat reporters just simultaneously all emit the same messages that seemed like they came from 115 Federal. That is definitely a psyop coming out of the Pirates. I don't think the Pirates are probably like, what are they talking about? We're not seriously in on Framber Valdez. He's way too expensive. We can afford him.
I think they are on. I think that's what we're missing. I think the argument in my mind is such that Ben Cherington calls the agent and says, if your client's interested in coming here for 2 for 20, I'm just making up numbers.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
2 for 20.
Some lowball bullshit off.
Some lowball bullshit because we have our guys say that he's 2 at 20. And the agent's like, all right. Yeah. I mean, cool. That's real cool, Ben. You know, I imagine they're not like serious conversations. It's just like, you ever see in Hard Knocks with the Giants and Joe Shane is doing like some GM shit on the phone. He's walking around with the speakerphone. His kids in the room. It's really telling. If that's what an NFL GM does, I can extrapolate from that these other guys are not that far off from, it's not like they have an alchemy in Major League Baseball. They don't have in ML, in football. They're just chatting. Okay, well, we feel like blah, blah, blah. We got our guys at this number. What do you, and the agent's like saying his piece. I imagine it's the same kind of argument, same kind of discussion. What I'm saying is that I think Ben Cherington checks in, says, this is what we're interested at your client at. We'd love to have him if he's willing to come at this number. And the agent says, like, all right, he hangs up the phone immediately. He's like, this isn't good for my business. It's not good for you. Let's go find you something better.
Oh, yeah.
And they go and they do that. And they leak it out in order to drum up a market. And the fact that Ben even called about Framber Valdez to check in, I'm sure if you put a gun to a head down there at Federal Street, they would say, we weren't really interested in him. But they're kicking the tires and doing due diligence, which is normal general manager stuff. Would you not agree?
Yeah, and due diligence in like the minimum definition of that. Like, I really don't think they were competitive at all in if they were putting anything in front of Valdez's agent, it was just to say that they did it. Like, tick a box on their to-do list. I don't.
Correct.
That one, that whole like rumor, it had the half-life of like a housefly. Like
it was like 8 hours. It wasn't 8 hours long.
But what's crazy to me is that the lowly pirates are being used as leverage. And so I thought to myself, like how could anybody possibly believe that the pirates are a serious bidder on anybody? And then it struck me, it's like, oh, okay, they're just being people just don't want to be embarrassed by them, and so they're, well, we better get this deal done, or else the pirates are going to make us look like idiots.
It's that, but like your client also has to take a deal below market from the pirates, which isn't going to happen.
So they're just trying to drive it up elsewhere, and it worked. And since we're talking about Valdez, and this is an interesting.
This is what I want to. I finish on this. Not that I'm fighting. I'm still. What I'm frustrated about this offseason is this narrative that we did something and nothing has happened. Nothing. There seems to be this like vacuum where, because we're so used to nothing happening as Pirates fans, just the mere mention of our names in a national beat writer's mouth evokes some kind of dopamine hit for the fan base at large.
That's what they've always wanted. They just want to be mentioned. They want to be they want to be talked about in by the same suits on Twitter as the Dodgers and the Mets and the Yankees. Oh, they're talking about the Pirates. This is so exciting.
But people are saying, oh, well, the Pirates, they clearly have a vested interest in letting it out there that they've been in second place on these guys. And that's the other part of it is dumb because that's not real.
Right.
The Pirates have nothing to gain from leaking to the media like, we're going in on Suarez or we're going in on Framber Valdez, or pick a name. Because if it doesn't happen, they look like monster fucking idiots, which they already do. They look like fucking idiots, OG,
Suarez
because nothing happened.
Though. Suarez is the exception, because as soon as his deal with Cincinnati came out, and it came out that it was a deal that the Pirates absolutely could and should have gotten done, they looked really bad and dumb, and so they immediately ran to their beat reporters and said, here, this is our, we were ready to give him 2 years. We were ready to give him more money, but he didn't want it from us. Like, they were so quick to get that word out there on him, because his was the one deal that looks like a Pirates deal.
Yeah, that's a fair point, and I'll agree with that. It does. That's a piratey type of player, like a guy at the end of his career, fringy. You could maybe, is he a starting third baseman every day? I don't know.
Cincinnati's not putting him there. Cincinnati's going to play Key Brian Hayes at third base and let him DH.
Right. So it's like, he's like, really, you could have put him at third and like, closed your eyes and pretended it was, 8 years ago when he was a third baseman. But with the Pirates leaking out like, hey, we were in on him and we were interested on him and he didn't want to come here. That's a different bucket. That's not the bucket I'm arguing, because, none of the deals that ever send. So let me ask you this. Did Joe Stinson Garcia, did anybody have that on their radar? Was it leaked? Did Passan talk about that deal before it was consummated? Did Joe Burrows, what's his name? What's his first name?
Mike Burrows.
Brian, Mike Burrows.
Joe Burrow, the quarterback for the Bengals. You're back on football.
I was actually thinking of the Pirates pitcher that was here that got traded to the Padres.
Oh,
like,
Musgrove.
that's the guy, Joe Musgrove. That's what came to my mind. Mike Burrows. Did anybody have Mike Burrows on their bingo card as a young, fringy depth player to be traded from, this pitching this pitching factory? No, because nothing got leaked on those deals, because it's not in anybody's interest to leak anything. And that's the point I'm trying to make here to anyone who might be listening to this. There's never anything to gain by the Pirates or whatever team, maybe if you're the Rays in the 3-team deal and you're trying to get that, you want the 19th prospect and the Pirates are only going to go to 20. Maybe you leak something, sometimes there's exceptions to be made, but as far as the Pirates are in a vacuum, as far as they are concerned, Ben Cherington isn't calling anybody up and saying, we're in on Suarez. We're in on Suarez, everybody. Hey! Like, he's not doing that. It never is going to happen. That's agents doing agent bullshit because they want the best deal for their client, and they want them preferably at all costs until we win 98 games in 2025, so that in 2026 we look like a destination. They want to be anywhere but here. That's all I'm trying to say. And as far as Schwarber goes, I don't want to hear about Schwarber ever again. Oh, gee, we didn't sign him. I didn't get my dream house. I can't just take money and go buy whatever I want. It takes two to tango. And it's so irritating to hear that we are in on Schwarber. We are in on Schwarber. I just want to throw my computer across the room when I hear that. I hate it. That's why I'm mad.
All right, fine.
Thank you for listening. I gotta be mad about something.
While we're talking about the signing of Framber Valdez, another interesting twist associated with that is the arbitration victory of Tarik Skubal. So, mere hours apart, the Tigers, after submitting a really low ball offer for the third year of arbitration for Tarik Skubal, they filed it. I think it was $19 million for a 2-time Cy Young winner entering his third year of arbitration.
Yes,
and Skubal and his agent Scott Boras, who really played this basically perfectly, especially after you see how it came out. They filed at 32, and this was the biggest gap between filings I think ever in arbitration history. I thought I saw that, and so I thought that they were going to wind up settling, but no, this was them trying to just bust open the arbitration system and set all kinds of new precedents, and they did it. They won. So Tarik Skubal is going to get $32 million to play baseball in 2026. Whether or not it's with the Tigers remains to be seen.
I think the internet seems to be obsessed with this narrative that he's going to get traded because they're somehow unable to afford.
I think it's probably
this is a team
unlikely.
That gave out contracts to Miguel Cabrera in our recent lifetime that were exorbitant. I mean, they clearly have revenue streams. I understand everybody.
Yeah, but I
understand. So they everybody in.
It's like close to $40 million a year for Valdez, and then immediately they are on the hook for 32. So I'm not interested so much in the Tigers' total payroll, which is getting up there. I'm more interested in the precedent that this sets for arbitration vis-a-vis Paul Skenes, because
I think it's going to be ridiculous.
Because the rule about who you can comp to is, in general, arbitration eligible players get to comp themselves to other similar year arbitration players and what they've earned in the past. So Paul Skenes entering his first year of arbitration next year, typically that means that he gets to compare himself to first year arbitration starting pitchers who have been excellent. Now, that's kind of a short list. Not very many
Dallas
starting
Keuchel.
pitchers. Right. There's
Wasn't
Keuchel, there's Lincecum. There's a very short list of Cy Young award-winning starting pitchers who are entering their first year of arbitration. Usually they don't win their Cy Young so early. So he's kind of special in that regard for sure. But what busts this open is the one of the rules that was being noted around before Skubal went into his hearing was about how fifth-year arbitration players are allowed to comp anybody, free agents, anybody out there. So Skubal can go out and comp what Max Scherzer got paid and what Verlander got paid in free agency and what DeGrom got paid in free agency. All these other guys who are getting well over $40 million a year, Skubal can come in and say, I'm just asking for 32. Come on, fellas, let's be fair about this. And he won. Now, the issue is that there's the guidance for what will be Paul Skenes arbitration includes a similar clause for the player when they're filing, even when they have extraordinary accomplishments, like Paul Skenes already has and could get more of. If he wins another Cy Young this year, that's certainly on the table. That would be unprecedented. A Rookie of the Year and 2 Cy Youngs for a starting pitcher entering arbitration, that's I'm pretty sure that's never happened. So it's in the guidance for arbitration to allow a player like that to comp anybody. So normally Paul Skenes as a 5+ WAR pitcher would be potentially earning upwards of $10 million in ARB1. That's under normal circumstances with that much WAR. But with the extraordinary exception, it could be significantly higher than that. It could be even like above $20 million. I don't even know. Like the point is this kind of breaks arbitration as a tool that particularly small market teams can use to suppress salaries of star players early in their careers. And it breaks the leverage that teams have in offering extensions. It breaks all kinds of stuff related to that imbalance between player performance and compensation. So we don't know where this is going to go. We'll certainly find out next winter. I mean, it's going to be weird with the lockout and everything. All the arbitration stuff is going to be delayed until they resolve all of that, whenever that is. But Paul Skenes is going into ARB1 in 2027, and he could very likely have himself a case where he does the same thing that Skubal did. And here's another wrinkle. While Skenes' agent is not Scott Boras, what Tarik Skubal and Paul Skenes have in common, they both sit on the 8-man executive subcommittee of the Major League Baseball Players Association. So these are two guys. One of them just broke arbitration, and the other one has the potential to break it further. Are they trying to do that as a cohort? Do they have that plan together? I don't know. I'm speculating. What do you think? Is there anything to this?
No. That's way too. Get off the internet. Go touch grass, OG. Okay.
It's all under the ice. I can't.
All right. Let's get you down to Pizzagate while we're at it here and get some flat earth in you. That's not true. They're not doing that.
Oh, it's a fun
They just
conspiracy.
happen to be 2 unicorns. They're unicorns, and the system isn't built for unicorns. I think that would be my thesis statement. You know, Paul Skenes and Tarik Skubal and players of that ilk don't come around very often, and when they do, they put stress on the system because the system was designed to, you know, get a guy who was like the 1973 version of Adam Frazier as much money as possible, because those guys were typically, you know, way underpaid. And that's what the system was designed for. So, you know, superstars straining the system, you know, now to kind of jump to your other half of your argument, I think you're making about, you know, what's that going to mean for the Pirates and what's that going to mean for our team. So I think the whole reason you're bringing up the Tarik Skubal stuff is because, you know, it's a very natural comp for our guy. And if that number is big, then whoa, what's his number going to look like, right? I think that's a fair point to make. And I think it's going to be a really big number. And I think all however many times he goes through arbitration as a Pittsburgh Pirate, it's going to be pretty high. Is he going to get $32 million the first time? No, but I for sure believe he will go with his agent to the arbitration committee or the judge, or I can't remember if it's one guy or three, but and say, hey, these are the guys in my arbitration class. This is the pitchers I'm in line with. I'm better than these guys. I want a bigger number. And I firmly believe he's going to get that number, no doubt. Because not only does his, his advanced metrics and all the fun stuff that we love as baseball nerds, we can see it jump off the page, but his counting stats also jump off the page. So some old fart who's like, a baseball arbiter from the old school is going to look at those counting stats and be like, "Yep, that looks good."
He's not looking at pitcher wins because the Pirates can't score a run.
Right.
So like
right.
So the highest ever first year arbitration number is Cody Bellinger at, I think, 11.5 million. That's for a position player. I think the highest ever for a pitcher is less than 10 million. I had been thinking all this time that Skenes was like, wow, he's going to break a record for pitchers. He's going to be at or above $10 million in first year of arbitration. And then I learned about this proviso in the arbitration guidance, and all bets are off. So he could come in and file at like 18, 19 million for ARB1 and easily win that, because he can throw 2 Cy Youngs and a Rookie of the Year on the table and say, look, I'm worth way more than this. I should be able to get this.
If the Pirates had to get we just got done screaming about the fact the Pirates can't sign anybody, but let's pretend for a minute that they could sign somebody and they were serious. What would it, if we were going to sign Paul Skenes to a 6-year deal, metaphorically, because that's technically how long we would have his rights for. Mm-hmm. So let's say we sign him to a 6-year deal. What would that look like? Right? That'd be an astronomical number. So I think the arbitration process for Paul is going to be not in line with what we're used to as fans. And it's going to be record-setting numbers for a pitcher. I think personally, if his career path is the one we are seeing now, and it's linear, and he doesn't get hurt, and he doesn't, get arrested or I'm just saying, like, anything, it doesn't die in a car, he doesn't turn into Jose Fernandez, right? Jose Fernandez.
Yes.
Or Wander Franco, or like some random thing, or Thurman Munson, nothing like that happens. Everything goes according to plan. No Tommy John surgeries, no hip flexors, no thoracic shoulder surgeries,
nerve issues.
Dude's going to make well over $500 million in free agency. I believe he'll obliterate Garrett Cole's contract, and I can't think of too many others who are up there right now. With
Yamamoto holds the record right now, but only barely.
Okay.
Over Cole.
All right. So somewhere around there, I think is what it'll be. Probably more than that. It
has implications for the Pirates.
Be as high as
just in terms of like when they trade him. Like, when does he become unaffordable for them to even swallow his arbitration number? And I'd been on the record like that several shows ago that he won't be a Pirate 2 years from now, and that meant after the 2027 season. I think that's probably still in play, even if he gets just a mind-blowing ARB1 number. The Pirates can afford that, but they absolutely will be moving him immediately.
I'm going to take the devil's advocate turn on this, and not because I believe the Pirates are suddenly going to find Jesus on this issue and, go take the loan from the Major League Central Bank and build around Paul Skenes. But I think the times that we usually see Pirates players get shipped off in arbitration is usually because they're not very good players and their arbitration numbers are out of whack for the production on the field vis-a-vis the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Right. So he still won't be getting paid what a free agent Paul Skenes would be getting paid, but he will be getting paid what a free agent the Pirates can't afford will be getting paid. So like an ARB2, like if he gets 18 million in ARB1, he's getting 27 or 31 million in ARB2. You think they just eat that? They don't trade that?
I do. No, I think they'll eat it as long as humanly possible.
Maybe.
Because
I would be shocked. I don't think they have the money. I don't think they're going to go get it.
They could just gut their team and pay him. They could literally do that, and they might. I'm serious. Think about some arbitration guys that got shipped off. Like, I'm trying to think of somebody who like really jumps to mind. Like Jameson Taillon, maybe. Like he was like an ARB 2 guy that got traded, right?
I mean, he got traded in the big like Charrington teardown, so I think he was getting traded regardless of what
like
he was
really
making.
Good, like overvalued. Like my point,
Garrett Cole is the last like this. They can't afford this guy. They've got to trade him, or they're crazy for keeping him. Type of a person was Cole.
I want to be clear on the record that they're not going to keep him and let him walk for nothing. That's not the argument that I'm making. So before anybody says like, well, are you out of your mind? That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that they will keep him and they'll pay him some exorbitant amount of money in one of these ARB years because just to keep Paul Skenes the unicorn in a Pirates uniform as long as humanly possible, because they'll clear other money to do so that they can absorb. It's,
yeah, they kind of have to.
They kind of have to.
Yeah, just to like. I mean, you'd think they kind of have to. It's almost, this team has so little shame that, I mean, nothing should shock us. But anyway, I wanted to broach the topic just because this was a thing that Pirates community was abuzz about in the last week, and I thought we should touch on it. So, well, I mean, we'll see.
Yeah,
it's very
lots of
interesting.
Money, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
He will get paid a lot of money.
You sent me a link to some news earlier today that I initially misinterpreted when I didn't even click on it and just read the headline and thought,
were you just reading the headline?
I was just reading that. I read the partial headline and thought, oh no, this is bad.
You brain rot kid, you.
Yeah, I did not read the article, but now having read the article, which I'm going to bring up, this was from Awful Announcing a few days ago. This was following Fox's earnings call, where is he the chairman, I guess now? Lachlan Murdoch? Whatever his title is.
Is this the good one or is this the evil one?
I don't think there are good ones, but Rupert Murdoch is his father. And so Rupert
in real life, their life was like kind of like the show Succession, where like a bunch of
I don't know.
A bunch of the siblings were like trying to get the Fox organization, and like they had the controlling shares. They were going to like make it less insane. And I don't know whatever happened with the rest of that story, but like, is this one of the good ones or the crap one?
I have no idea.
Or you don't know.
I mean, you can look at Fox.
There was like one holdout sibling who was
like,
okay, there was one holdout sibling who was like his father's son, and he was like, I'm not changing a damn thing. So maybe this is that one.
I have no idea. But anyway, on their earnings call, and this is the headline from Awful Announcing, Lachlan Murdoch says Fox will rebalance sports portfolio if the NFL rights increase in price. And when I first read this, the reason that I thought it was the opposite way around is like, oh no, the NFL is getting too expensive. And this is such a stupid thought. The NFL is getting too expensive, so Fox is going to scale back from that and throw more money at baseball because they're baseball's biggest national partner right now. But no, that's not at all what was going on there. Instead, as the article points out, the NFL could look to renegotiate its current deals as soon as this year. Currently, the league's deals go through 2033 with an opt-out in 2029, aside from ESPN, doesn't matter, which includes 2030 opt-out. So this is the NFL saying, look, we're going like gangbusters, and even though our deals run until 7, 8, 9 years from now, we'd like to renegotiate right now because we looked at what the NBA just got, and we don't think that the NBA should be making anywhere near as much money as we do, so we want to make more. And of course, all of the broadcast partners of the NFL are like, oh, yes, sir. Right? So Murdoch said, Fox is prepared to, quote, rebalance its sports rights portfolio to account for a more expensive NFL package. That's fancy corporate way of saying other sports are on the chopping block at Fox to make room for the higher cost of NFL rights. And what other sports could that be? Well, if Fox is looking for big savings, its most expensive non-NFL media rights deal is by far its MLB package. Fox pays approximately $729 million per year for an MLB package that includes the World Series, a league championship series, and regular season games throughout the season. So
it's a lot of money for how little that package really is. I was shocked when I read that number.
This is the percentages of the new media rights now that ESPN has pivoted away from Sunday Night Baseball and the Wild Card Series and is now the proud owner of MLB.TV and local rights for at least 6 teams and maybe more to come. Fox has more than a third, is responsible for more than a third of Major League Baseball's national media rights money under the current system. This is all going to expire after 2028. And Major League Baseball just got through trying to recreate ESPN in the aggregate, which is what they did, excuse me, with Netflix and NBC. ESPN's still there, but it's kind of sort of not a national media rights. I include them in this pie chart and they really skew the numbers. But if you took ESPN out of this, Fox is an even bigger slice of the pie. And so this is a major existential threat to Major League Baseball's national revenue, entering a time when they have all of their deals coming up, as we've been talking about again and again and again, after 2028. Well, now the NFL is coming and saying, we're going to steal your lunch money and we're going to steal it early.
Yeah, it's bad for them. But I mean, again, I maximum pain kind of accelerationist on this issue.
Oh yeah.
I want to see baseball eat take their medicine and get what's coming to them for kicking this can down the road for as long as they have. I'm quite certain they're going to renegotiate a different number. I don't think there's a world where Fox is really truly interested in not having baseball as part of their programming packages, because it does drive a lot of revenue for them. But you know, college football, motorsports are huge drivers, as well as the NFL. So the NFL says jump, Fox asks how high. And if baseball says jump, Fox says, I'm not jumping for you, you dickhead. You jump for me.
Yeah, what this presages is a further reduction in the total size of the pie for baseball at the national level. And
this is good for our lockout narrative.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's the whole tie-in here, and the Skubal breaking arbitration thing and the continuing constriction of the TV money situation. We've now got more than half the teams in baseball having lost their formerly lucrative RSN deals are now either getting
like
pennies on the dollar.
Our evil nemesis, the Cardinals.
The Cardinals, the Braves, somehow the Tigers. There's so many teams. I can't even list them all off the top of my head because it's more than half the league at this point that have taken a major haircut on their local media rights. And now the national media rights are being threatened by the NFL deciding that they want to alter the deal. Pray they don't alter it any further. So I had been very bearish about the owner's willingness to stick together and go to the mat on all this stuff because I thought they had staved off the issue with just taking these short-term deals to let's just get across the finish line and renegotiate in 2028. Now, I don't know if arbitration's broken, if the TV deals are accelerating down. I don't know. There might be something happening here.
I think that I don't think that this, causation is going to equal correlation. But I think in totality, they all add up and will help move that needle, if that makes sense. I don't think these guys are seriously sitting there going, oh my God, arbitration's broken. Oh no, we got to do a lockout, everybody. I just don't think it's that like,
well, you put it that way.
Yeah, it's just like, is that how businesses operate? No, they don't. I don't have room to understand how human beings operate. I'm a human being. I can understand them. But I think when they all meet at the, ballroom in the Miami Beach Hilton for their meetings, and the MLB economist pulls up the chart that you just pulled up, and they show them the numbers, and they show them the line is like not going up, and the money machine is not going burr. Then I think these guys are going to start to worry, and then maybe that'll change their mindsets. And, hopefully they stick together and we're on the precipice of that. And these guys just, kind of, I'm also very tired, not tired. It's just, this media narrative that the union will never accept, the union this, the union that. I'm as pro-union as anybody. That's not the bucket I'm in right now. I'm not in that bucket. I don't have that hat on. As far as just the realpolitik of this issue, the union doesn't get to, they don't get to set their work rules. They don't get to set the industry standards. The owners do that. So if the owners say, like, don't come to work and we will shut this down until we get you guys in order so we can go take this media rights deal and get NFL style money, they'll do it. And that's their goal. And if that's truly what their goal is, then they need to see that through. And the union won't have much. The union can agree or they can't agree. That's it. Yeah. They can either play baseball or not.
I just can't make up my mind whether this needle is getting harder or easier to thread for the idea that they're going to feel like they have no choice but to do it now. That's been my angle on whether or not they would do it. If you're looking at that New York Times needle on election night, it's always at 50%. And in real time, it goes to 51. Yeah. Leaning one way, leaning the other way.
Yeah. Where's the OG needle at, like today, Sunday, February 8th? 9 o'clock.
So I think all I've done is I've moved my needle from strongly not losing games in 2027 to moderately not losing games in 2027. I don't believe that they're going to feel the pinch enough still, even after all this, but I'm less sure than I was.
So you're saying that even with because to me, like, the biggest driver of a lockout would have to be the fact that the FanDuel sports networks or the Bally networks, whatever the hell they're called now, are all basically folding, and that's their pay. That the owner's metaphorical, like, paycheck to paycheck is that.
Yes.
And the ballpark revenue. The two of those things together are the lifeblood of the organizations. So if you had an $80 million deal as the St. Louis Cardinals or whatever the number was, and now you're getting $20 million, that's a big deal. That's a big number. That's a big number that, chunk of change that you no longer have. To me, if those numbers weren't happening, if that wasn't happening, and some of this national stuff was happening, then maybe my meter would be where yours at. I'm going farther to we're going to start losing games meter, I think, because if the goal is to consolidate media rights under the MLB auspices, under the central office, like they did, since the year 2000, they've consolidated baseball down. The umpires used to be 2 leagues. Now they're not. There used to be 2 league offices. Now they're not. I mean, we're getting to the point now where this is the last thing that the commissioner's office can take and unilaterally use under their control. The television rights is what I'm saying.
Right.
So they have 10 teams, 9, 10, something like that.
So it was 6 coming into this off season, and now they're adding another. Is it another 9? See, this is where I don't have my homework in front of me, but it's
okay. That's fine. We'll just say, I think just pick a number you think is accurate. I mean, we have 30 listeners, OG. Nobody cares.
It's like it's in the low teens because you've got to. So call it. It's like 13 or 14. It's 13 or 14 teams that are going to be like. Look, MLB is going to be their distributor.
And the goal is for Manfred to get all 30 teams and put them under his banner so that he can sell them. And that's what they want. That's what
stated goal.
That's what drives the NFL. That's what drives, right. And so we're halfway to that stated goal. And the teams that still have their local television deals are getting a haircut. Major League Baseball is not going to be paying the Diamondbacks $300 million a year. That's like a snake eating its own tail. I mean, they're all part of the same ecosystem. You have to have money coming in to your ecosystem from an outside party in order to make this thing run. You can't just, I can't give you $20, OG, then you give me a loan on the $20. I pay you back off the $20.
Right. It's all the same thing.
You can't do. Right. So eventually so to me, what I'm trying to say is that eventually I think that that's really where the tipping point is going to happen. It may not be Fox or ESPN or selling BAMTech or whatever. It's going to be that, like, the St. Louis Cardinals had a quote lucrative television deal that allowed them to go get players and sell their fans on the Cardinal way and maintain this shiny level of, we can punch above our weight class. We're not a middle class team. We're like in the upper echelon. We win World Series here. Now they're the Pirates. And I think that's really where these teams are going to start having to deal with that. And then that might push them in, let's lock out the season for the whole year mentality.
Yep. Well, as we keep saying, we shall see. This is a very seriously interesting new wrinkle. We shall watch its career with great interest. And I think
you had 2 Star Wars references on this show.
I know. I'm doing the Star Wars tonight.
I mean, there was 2 good ones and they were organic.
Yeah, I worked
them right in. You put them in
right
where they needed to go. Yeah. Well done.
Well, so I think that's probably a good place to end this episode. Next time, why don't we come back and yell about some dumb takes around baseball media? I've got some saved up, and we've been preoccupied with some other things, but does that sound like a good idea? Yell at foul territory, yell at some...
Sure, whatever floats your boat, baby.
All right. So thanks, everyone, for hanging out with us.
I do love to yell, so that gets me.
You sure do. You yelled at me.
Yeah.
Yelled at the Pirates.
I wasn't yelling at you, OG. I was yelling with you.
Okay, fair enough. Well, thanks for listening or watching, everyone. If you want to know when we're on first thing, please subscribe or... Crab, that's your line.
Don't subscribe. Go get locked out. Go on strike. I don't care what you do. We have 30 listeners. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters. Eat Arby's.
Yes, but we love them. We love our 30 listeners. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.